Yes, Edwin Pierre.
And how are you related to Bryan Pata?
I'm his brother.
Is Bryan younger or older than you?
Younger.
How much younger?
Hold on, let's see. I'm 6 years older than you.
Did you grow up playing football?
Yes, we are here.
And once Bryan started at the University of Miami, were you living in the same city as Bryan?
Yes,
How often would you talk?
every day.
How often would you see Bryan?
Before he went to the University of Miami, before he ended up moving out,
Once he started attending the University of Miami.
he used to come home with me and my mother at home. Until his senior year, he moved out.
Would he come home on weekends?
Yes, every weekend he'll come home.
And how often did you speak on the phone?
Mostly every day.
Were you really close to Bryan?
Yes, I was the closest.
Closer than your other siblings?
Yes,
Despite the age gap?
yes.
Did Bryan ever mention a teammate by the name of Rashaun Jones?
Yes.
Do you remember when you first heard about him?
Yeah, when they first got an altercation on the 7th floor.
Was that in the dorms?
Yes.
If you know, do you remember about when that was? What year Bryan was in?
I think Bryan was in his sophomore year, I think it was. His sophomore year, I think it was. Because that's when, Eric was ineligible for 1 year. And everyone ever came, there was the whole crew used to be up on the 7th floor, rapping or doing anything together as one, so they all should be a finger.
And that incident was the first time you heard about Rashaun?
The very first time, yes.
And who told you about that incident?
Bryan did.
And in what context did he mention Rashaun Jones to you?
That they got into altercation about it. And they got into
Sorry, go ahead.
They got into altercation up in Eric's room.
After that altercation, did they become friends?
No, never.
Was Bryan someone who could be a teammate with someone that he wasn't friends with and didn't like?
Yeah, still, he just came in, did the job, and didn't worry about him at all, or whoever it was, and kept doing his thing, and that was it.
So after that incident during Bryan's sophomore year in Eric's room, did you hear Rashaun Jones' name from Bryan on other occasions?
Yeah, I heard it another time before. Yes, I did.
At some point, did Bryan tell you that Rashaun had threatened him?
Objection.
Yes.
Hearsay.
And do you remember when Bryan told you about the threat?
I think him and Dave had gotten into a situation too again. And then that's what he was like, yeah, boys better clap up or clip up, something like that.
And what did clap up or clip up mean to you?
Gun in the holster, put the gun in, like a gun clip.
So the clip is the gun clip or the holster.
Yeah, the actual putting the clip into the gun. Like
So
clip up.
loading the gun?
Nope, yeah, loading the gun, yes.
And what did Bryan tell you?
Objection. Hearsay.
He said that him and Dave had gotten into a situation and they was still going through whatever that beef, whatever how it started. And after I think they ended up knocking him out, and then that's how the situation became the clip up gun situation.
Did Bryan later tell you about another threat?
Yeah, the female says this last year.
So the clap up or clip up with Dave, was that while Dave was still attending the University of Miami?
Yeah, Dave was still currently there. Yep, because they was both leaving treatment that day.
In the locker room?
Yeah, in the locker room. Yeah, or going to treatment. Either one of them. I know they was going to treatment or going home.
And do you know which season or what year that was? Or what grade Bryan was in?
I think it had to be, that was Dave's last, I think that was junior, I think it was junior, I'm not too sure, but it might be the junior or sophomore, one of them, I'm not quite sure what season or what year he was in between.
But you know
But
it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, but it happened between either sophomore or junior year, yeah.
And
Because Bryan's senior year, they ended up transferring. He was gone to Portland, I think it was.
and that threat happened in the locker room?
Objection
Yeah.
to the meeting, lack of personal knowledge,
Oh.
hearsay.
Oh. Now, did there come a time where Bryan told you about another threat that Rashaun Jones made to him?
Yes, he said that he was going to bury him in the trash can.
Do you know when Bryan told you about this?
That was the 06 season.
So can you give us a little context about the draft? Was Bryan in the situation to be drafted in the NFL draft that year?
Yes, ma'am. At the 07, like it was 06 that was his final year as a senior there, but that 06 in February when the draft was coming up.
So it was the 06 season, her senior year in the 2007 NFL draft.
Yes.
When did, I guess, sports outlets and sports agents really start, I guess, telling Bryan or contacting Bryan that he was a real prospect for the draft?
Objection, hearsay, lack of personal knowledge.
Yes, I remember it was like, I think it was like when he started performing well as a D tackle, he started getting calls from different agents, and it was one particular guy named Drew Rosenhaus, ended up calling him, he came to visit myself and my sister, and he was saying that I could get you in the top 15. That's when Bryan name was all over the paper, and, he excelled as far as moving from outside to inside, and he was getting recognized a lot for, doing a great job.
So his draft prospect really went up during the 2006 football season?
Yes, it did. And also, right after, like, when he passed, around the time, he had an invitation to go to the combine in Indianapolis, and Kareem Bryant was taking his position, his spot, because of his passing.
Did all of the talk regarding the NFL draft kind of happen, did it speed up as the season went on?
Yes. Every game he elevated, he kept getting better and better, and he kept getting recognized a lot. And so, like, every week they're grading, and his grades was being at the top at the time.
Do you know when that invitation to the combine, when he received it?
It was in November, sometime in November of 06, the beginning or late October or November of 06.
So shortly before his death?
Yeah, shortly before his death. Because right after that, when, like, this is like 3 days left in the season, and Kareem ended up taking his invitation to Indianapolis.
And what was the exact wording Bryan told you that Rashaun had told him?
Objection, hearsay.
He's going to bury him in the draft suit.
Draft shoot?
Suit.
Suit. Yeah.
Had Bryan started talking about getting a suit for the draft?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. We ended up, with his homegoing, we ended up putting it on him, and leaving the rest of it with his arm.
So he had already purchased that suit prior to his death?
Yeah.
And I know you don't know the exact date, but can you give us at all any sort of time frame, whether it's days or weeks prior to his death, that he told you about this threat?
It was like sometime in October of 6th. Maybe.
Thank you. I don't have any questions, but the defense may.
All right, thank you. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Pierre, if you need a minute to step away, you can have a minute to step away. Do you need a minute, or are you ready to go?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. And just so that it's on the record, I failed to mention before, the defendant has been here from the inception after our break, as his attorneys have said as well, and continues to be. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. So, Mr. Pierre, I want to talk to you first about the threat that you testified to that you claim Bryan told you about, okay?
okay.
You said that Bryan told you about a threat that came from Mr. Jones where he said, you'll be dead in your draft suit, something along those lines.
Right.
And you testified that Bryan told you about this sometime in October of 2006.
Right.
Okay. Now, November 6th of 2006 is whenever Mr. Pata passed away, November 7th of 2006, right? When your brother was killed?
Right.
And on that same night, you spoke with an officer, correct?
Yeah.
You spoke with a detective with the last name Gallagher, correct?
No, it was not Gallagher. It was Dominguez.
You spoke with Dominguez on November 7th of 2006.
Yes, he took me in the car.
And Dominguez asked you if there was anybody who had problems with Bryan. Do you recall him asking you that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And you did not mention Rashaun Jones, correct?
I did. I said, he asked me more than one time, do you think anybody outside that he had a problem with outside of the school? I said, no. I said, the only time he had a problem with was Rashaun Jones because they had a fight.
Your testimony is that you told Detective Dominguez on November 7th of 2006 that
Yes.
your brother had an issue with Mr. Jones.
Yes, I did. He had a notepad and he wrote everything down in the car. I was in the car with him.
Did you tell Detective Dominguez on November 7th of 2006 about this bury him in the draft suit comment?
My mind was all over the place, so I don't recall, but I probably did because he wrote everything down that day.
All right, Mr. Pierre, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Isn't it true that the first time you ever referenced this draft suit statement at any point was during your deposition?
Yeah, because I had to reflect and think back of everything that transpired. It's been so long.
So the first time you ever said this draft suit statement about this threat that your brother told you, that was during your deposition in that case. Prior to that, you never mentioned it before, right?
The only time I spoke to Dominguez was that night. I think the second time he showed me pictures, and then this deposition right here. The one not too long ago.
Mr. Pierre, my question is a little more specific. The first time you ever told anybody about this draft suit statement was on the date of your deposition, isn't that true?
Yes, correct.
And the date of your deposition was June 12th, 2025.
Yeah, I told her, I spoke to them, I told them that, correct.
Okay, and that's almost 20 years after your brother was killed, correct?
Right?
You had never told anybody up to that point in June of 2025 about this draft suit statement.
I only got interviewed only 3 times. The very first time was the night it happened. The second time, they showed me pictures. And this third time was, nearly 20 years. This is the only time I had to talk to reflect and think about everything that was said between my brother and myself.
And during all 3 of those interviews, you never mentioned this statement about the draft suit?
Yes, I did not, because the first time was the night I spoke to him. The second time I seen Dominguez again, it happened, he would just show me pictures. And then this time, in 2025 is when I had time to think about everything else led to what it is today, and then that's when I started thinking and reflecting, and that's when I remembered.
Well, the first time you spoke to the detective, you mentioned the name Chico, correct?
I remember saying that too, yes.
So you mentioned that Chico might have had a problem with Bryan, the first time you spoke to the detective.
Right.
But you still didn't mention the statement about the draft suit from Rashaun.
Because it just happened, one, and in my mind thinking about Amy and everything that happened at the time of that time frame. Because other than that, he didn't have no problem with nobody else after that.
Okay. Now, the second time you spoke to detectives, didn't you also mention a club life fight that had happened that involved your brother?
Yeah, I was involved in it too, yeah.
And Willie Williams was involved in it?
Willie Williams, Richard Gordon, yes, we all was in that altercation.
And you learned about some threats that were made to your brother after that fight?
Well,
you learned about threats that were made. I'm sorry. I think there's a bit of a delay, Mr. Pierre. Let me ask my question again, and then we'll give a pause for your answer. After that club life fight, you learned that there had been some threats made to your brother and Willie Williams as a result of that fight, correct?
I remember, yes, I did.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not relevant to the women's trial.
I'll allow it.
And you mentioned that in your second interview with detectives.
Yes, I did.
And you still did not, during that second interview, mention the draft suit comment from Mr. Jones.
Correct.
Okay. And then you spoke to them for a third time, and they spoke to you about your brother's ex-girlfriend, correct?
Yeah, Jada,
And they spoke to you about Gina as well, his girlfriend before Jada, right?
I didn't know Gina.
Okay. But they spoke to you about her, didn't they?
They mentioned it, yeah, and I told them I didn't know her like that. I didn't know her.
In that interview where they mentioned Gina, you still did not tell them about this alleged draft suit comment that you claim your brother told you about Mr. Jones.
All I ended up telling them what was going on in between that time frame. I told them the other problems that I knew that was going on. We all didn't know what was going on, so he's asking me other questions other than him. If he would have kept talking about they had someone of him, then okay, then I would reflect and start thinking. So if he kept asking other questions about other things and other people, so that's why it didn't come up on that.
Isn't it true that you told Detective Dominguez on November 22nd, 2006 that your brother didn't have problems with anyone?
I told him that he had issues with people, and I mentioned the names he had issues with. I told him the very first night that he asked me, other than the people I mentioned, did he have any other issues with any other person? And that's when I mentioned him. I said at the school it was him. That's exactly what I said.
So your testimony is that you told Detective Dominguez on November 7th, 2006 about your brother's problems with Rashaun Jones.
I told him November 6th, the day he died, because he took me from the crime scene and he put me in the car.
Now, after you claim that Bryan told you about this threat in October, you did not report that to the coaches?
I can't report to no coach because I can't access to the school like that.
You didn't report it to the University of Miami?
Because I can't, I'm not there. I can't go to the school and say, oh, this is the issue. They knew what the issue was already. They knew because Randy Shannon and Coco knew about the situation. Coach Hurt knew about the situation. They even went in the office to talk about and trying to squash their situation. I know about that. But I can't go and talk to the coaches and let them know I couldn't do that because I have access to go to the school like that. Only time I have access to go to.
Mr. Pierre, you're aware that the University of Miami has a campus police department, correct?
I understand that.
And you did not report this threat to the campus police department.
Listen, let me explain something to you, okay?
Mr. Pierre, is it
Wait,
true?
let him answer. You asked one question, and you didn't have an opportunity to answer. You can answer.
Okay. one, I don't live near the campus, all right? Number two, all right, my whole family's going through a situation of a death, okay? So I'm gonna report to the cops that came to our house to visit and talk to us. That's what was conversation and telling them, you expect me to go all into the school and report to the campus police? How am I do that when we are grieving and I'm dealing with family members and with my mom about the situation? So when the cops came to come talk to us, that they gave us their card, that's who we called and that's who we spoke to.
Mr. Pierre,
So that's what it is.
let me be a little bit more specific. After you claim you heard about this threat in October, between October and the date that your brother was killed, you did not report this to the University of Miami.
Of course, because we brushed it off. We not, see, the thing about the situation was going on between them, we was not worried about that because that was just talk. That was just talk, because if that's the case, then if we knew they were serious like that, we would have been took that to another level and notified the cops or whatever. So we brushed it off like it was nothing. That was just basically just talk.
Okay, so you and your brother determined that this alleged statement from Mr. Jones was an empty threat, that it didn't have any credibility.
When he saying that to me, he talked to me about it, you know, off rip, we just knew that, okay, he's probably just talking, you know, so I didn't know how deep, I didn't know how deep it was because I didn't know until later on, like, you know, it was more deeper than that.
And your brother he wasn't scared by it, he wasn't worried about it, he didn't think that it
No,
was
no, he was not afraid. He was not afraid. He was never afraid. He was never afraid.
Now, you testified as well about a fight that you heard of where Mr. Jones said clip up after the fight. Do you recall testifying to that?
Yeah.
You were not there, correct?
No, I was not.
You heard about that from another person.
I heard that from my brother.
So Mr. Pata told you about that fight as well?
Yes.
Mr. Pierre, have you ever been convicted of any felonies or crimes of dishonesty?
Yes, I did.
How many times?
Once.
When was that?
Back in 2011.
Moment to confer, Judge. I have no further questions, Judge.
Briefly. Mr. Pierre, back on the evening of your brother's death, and in the immediate days and weeks after, were you giving the police lots of names to investigate?
Yes.
Do you remember exactly word for word what you told them every time?
No, I do not.
At that time, initially after his death, did you think it was a teammate?
Yeah, because due to the circumstances of like how everything played out. I mean, because like every other weekend, I used to come visit my brother. His time off was with us. He didn't have no outside, you know, situation that was going on like that, other than petty club fight about the rims that he purchased from someone that didn't know it was stolen, got rid of those rims, and maybe a few altercations because with Jada, that's it. But we was not in the streets to go ahead and try to like start stuff and just be a badass, knowing that he knows that what he was trying to do as far as the first one in the family and take care of my mom, you know, and do all this. He was not going to jeopardize his career on doing, you know, dumb stuff, you know, and that's just that's what the bottom line was. So, you know, he was not looking for trouble, you know.
And was Bryan ever a member of the Zohan gang?
Never. They way older than they way older than all of us. Bryan was only at the time he was 22. He just left the house at 21. You know.
All right, thank you, Fennel. I don't have any other questions.
Okay. day.